Okay, so I got gifted rather a lot of books for my birthday and Christmas. My birthday is in December, so I sort of thought I'd amalgamate birthday and Christmas hauls together, and so I'm just going to run through with you what I got. I'm going to start with the books that my husband got me for both my birthday and Christmas. He went a bit over the top, I'm not going to lie. I gave him like a massive list of books and said, look, just pick some out for me, surprise me, see, you can pick any from this list and you will be safe. And what he did was he bought them all, every single book on my list, and they were my presents for birthday and Christmas. So I'm going to start with those. So the first book that I got was Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco, Mellors. So this one, I'm not going to lie, the cover and the title kind of sucked me in. And this is really just a story about people. So it's a story about a woman who is potentially going to have to leave the States because her visa has expired, and then she marries Frank. And it's about the repercussions of that decision and how that affects the people around them, and the trauma of that and the love within that, I believe. So that is the first one. I am going to try and rattle through these at a pretty quick pace because there are quite a few. The next one is a graphic novel, and that is Wake, The Hidden History of Women-Led Slave Revolts by Rebecca Hall. So I'll just show you a bit of the art, but I think it's quite self-explanatory. It's about women leading revolts, slave revolts. It's in the title. But yeah, I've just been wanting to read more graphic novels, and this one I think was actually listed in the Goodreads Choice Awards category, and it was one of the ones that I was more interested in. I'm quite interested in non-fiction graphic novels. Are they novels? Graphic memoirs? Graphic works of literature? So this one got picked up. And then no one's going to be surprised to see this book on my gifted pile, and that is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I read the Poisonwood Bible earlier this year and adored it, and so I really wanted to get hold of her new release, which is this one. And this is a retelling of David Copperfield, but I think it's set in America. I think there's a lot of sort of focus on drug dependency and sort of racial conflicts possibly as well within that. So interested to see how that goes. I'm really excited for it. I know that AJ Dunn over at AJ Dunn Reads and Writes really enjoyed it, so that fills me with hope, because I think we're akin on the old Barbara Kingsolver love. So yes, I am very much looking forward to picking this one up, and I will be hopefully picking it up very soon. Next, we've got a bit of a classic. We've got The Silmarillion by JRR Tolkien. So I've read The Hobbit a couple of times. I have read Lord of the Rings. I think I read The Fellowship twice, and I've never read The Silmarillion. It really intimidates me, but I thought if I have it on my shelf, then maybe it'll encourage me to pick it up. So this is obviously fantasy and is sort of like the setup for the Lord of the Rings world, but I've seen a few people read this year and get on okay with it, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident that I'm not gonna hate it, because I feel like Tolkien, though I love him and Lord of the Rings is one of my favourite books, he is quite wordy and quite waffly, so he has the potential to go off on some real tangents in this, but we'll see how it goes. Next up we have a non-fiction, and that is Animal Vegetable Criminal by Mary Roach. I believe this is called Fuzz in America, but this is basically about weird encounters between animals and humans. I thought it sounded really interesting and like a really fun read, and I think it's sort of broken down into like little snippets of almost stories, but obviously they're non-fiction stories. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And I mean, who doesn't love a bear on the front cover of their book? That's what I would like to know. Next up we have Dissolution by CJ Sansom. This is a pretty popular book. Most people probably have heard of it. It's a historical sort of thriller mystery type thing. I'm not even sure exactly when it's set. 1537. So in the Tudor era, and I think we're following mysteries, but this is like a 7-book series. This looks really manageable, and then you look at the other 6 in the series and they're massive. But I've been interested in trying the series for a while, So I asked for that one and my husband delivered. Next up, completely influenced by my good friend Alice, Alice and the Giant Bookshelf, is Dear Reader by Cathy Rentzenbrink. This is another non-fiction, and this is just about like how books can influence your life, I think. I will try and find Alice's wrap up from last year, because this is one of her favourite books of last year, so it'll be in like her best books of 2021. Years are hard. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to that, and I didn't realise it was this small, so maybe I'll get to it sooner rather than later. We can live in hope. Next up, Cozy Fantasy, and I did talk about this. This is one of the ones that is like a priority read for me for 2023, and that is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. Everyone's been going mad about this book. An orc who like retires from military life to set up a coffee shop. All the cozy vibes, supposed to be delightful, and I believe Travis Baldree has a new book coming out next year, it depends on when this video goes up. In 2023, Travis Baldree potentially has another book. So yeah, I'd really like to get to that one. And look at these lovely end pages. I mean, delightful. Next we have another non-fiction, so I've got quite a lot of non-fiction in here, but that's The Golden Mole by Katherine Rundell. Katherine Rundell is a pretty famous author. I did try one of her children's books earlier this year and didn't quite get on with it, but I do really want to try her non-fiction, and this one, I mean look, gold sprayed edges, so adorable, and it's got beautiful pictures in. It's about like rare animals, so if you can see the contents, you've got all sort of weird and wonderful animals in there. I'm guessing there's a golden mole in there somewhere. Yes, there is. But if I can just, I mean, look how beautiful the illustrations are. How can anyone resist that? So I think this will be one that I sort of pick up and put down, sort of just like when I want a bit of cozy animal information. So yes, that one. Next up we have Elatsoe. Elatsoe, is that how you say it? By Darcy Little Badger, and this just sounds like delightful, like a perfect winter read, to be honest. And it's sort of a reimagined North America that is sort of shaped by monsters and magic. So that's all I really know about it. That's all I want to know going in. I think Elatsoe is the main character, and yeah, I just can't wait to dive into this one. Nor can Rudy, apparently. And this one also has some like beautiful like chapter heading illustrations. So pretty. Who doesn't love a picture? Okay, then we have a book that a lot of people have read, but I have not, and that is 84 Charing Cross Road. Have you read it, Rudy? No, I didn't think so. I say it, sit down. 84 Charing Cross Road by Helen Hanff, and yeah, this gets a lot of love. Non-fiction, about letters being sent to and from this bookshop in Charing Cross Road, I think looking for specific types of books. I don't know too much about it, and it's super short, well, like 230 pages, but it's like a tiddler. I mean, if you look at a normal size book, it's really small. So yeah, I will probably pick this up for either non-fiction November or shorty September when we get there. Next up we have a more recent release, and that is You Don't Know What War Is by Yeva Skalietska, and this is the diary of a young girl from Ukraine, and this is about her experience with the 2022 war between Ukraine and Russia. I'll be honest, though obviously I know broadly what's going on, I don't watch the news that often, because all news is bad news and it puts me in an awful headspace. So I choose not to watch the news so much, but I would really like to understand the experiences of the people in Ukraine and what they've been going through, and I think this will be a perfect one. And also just picking up more books by Ukrainian authors is on my list of things to do, so this one fits the bill for that as well. And then the last one from my husband, I told you it was excessive, Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaghy. And this one's fiction about a professor who introduces wolves back into Scotland and the effect of that on the community and the environment and all that sort of stuff. It did have some hype sort of last winter, but I haven't seen many people talk about it since, but it really interested me. The whole idea of reintroducing species that were indigenous to a place, I think is really a really interesting concept. So yes, we have that one. So next up, a little bit of a departure, but the Shelterbox Book Club pick for December, and that was A People's History of Heaven by Mathangi Subramanian. And this sounds really interesting. This is about 5 girls living in the slum of heaven. They are different religions, they are different sexual orientations, and it's about their experience getting to know each other and becoming friends, and what that means for them, and is it possible to be friends with people of different religions and different sexual orientations and all of that sort of thing. So it sounds really interesting. It's not a book I've heard people really talk about on BookTube, so if you have read it, I'd love to know. But that was the Shelterbox Book Club pick. I also, for my birthday, received a gift card from my mother-in-law, so I did go into town today and bought a couple of books. So the first book I picked up was Ithaca by Claire North. This is a Greek myth retelling, and as you can probably tell if you know much about Greek myth retellings, this is the story of Penelope and her experience in Ithaca whilst waiting for her husband Odysseus to return. And you can see sort of on the front cover her weaving the shroud that she was weaving and unweaving throughout the time Odysseus was away, and it was in the half price sale. Now no one knows. The other book I picked up was chosen by my 10-year-old Sam, and he chose Tiger by SF Sage. And I don't know anything about this, but he read at school a book by this author, something about Varjak Paw, something about like a cat. I don't really know, but this is the author's newest release, and I've just got to show you underneath the dust jacket, because I mean, how pretty is that? And again, I know very little about this. I think it's about sort of a magical tiger that some kids have to save with their magical powers. They have to sort of unleash their magical powers, but this is one that I will read with him at some point, hopefully over the course of 2023. But it just looks so pretty, and we couldn't resist. And then we move on to the books that my brother gifted me. So the first of which is a manga, because I'm branching out, and he picked up for me Black Paradox by Junji Ito, and this follows 4 people who want to commit suicide, and they sort of meet on the dark web, and sort of I think they discuss how they're going to do that. So I mean, all the trigger warnings I believe, but I am intrigued. I didn't really know where to start with manga. I do have Death Note on my shelf, but this one was in Waterstone's list of like best manga of 2022, and I recognised Junji Ito's name, so yeah, so that one went on my list, and my brother kindly bought it for me. And there's just a little glimpse of the art style for you, but yes, very much looking forward to getting to that one, and it's quite slim, so it shouldn't take me too long. He also picked up for me What Writers Read, 35 writers on their favourite book. I saw Charlotte at Coiny Reads review this not so long ago. If I can find the review, I'll link it below, and she said it was just fantastic, a lovely book, and it's got loads of authors who have contributed to this. That, I mean, there's authors that everybody will know on here: Marion Keyes, Anne Patchett, Diana Evans, Lisa Taddeo, Damon Galgut, William Boyd, Ruth Ozeki. I mean, there's 35, I'm not going to read them all out, but I mean, some really prolific authors, so it'll be really interesting to read what their favourite books are and why, and I just can't wait to get stuck into this little pocket rocket of a book. And he also picked me up Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, which has had loads of hype this year. And this, I believe, is a very feminist book. It's about what it's like to be a woman in science in the 1960s, and also about, I think, another woman who is on a cookery show and trying to change people's perceptions of that. Again, I don't know too much about it, and I don't want to go in, but it sounds beautifully feminist. It's about women in science, which I am a woman in science, so I always like to read about it. And I mean, look at how stunning this is. That is sprayed edges periodic table, right? Just stunning. So yeah, thanks Ben. And then I was, quite frankly, overwhelmed when some lovely ladies on BookTube also sent me some gifts for birthday and Christmas. So I will run through those now, but and don't tell anyone this, made me a bit emotional because they're just the loveliest ladies, and they just wrote the loveliest things in cards, and yes. Anyway, so the first book I want to talk to you about is a book that the lovely Jack at Spread Book Joy sent me for my birthday. And when I received the package, I thought, Jack must have put 2 books in there. Nope. She just sent me a 1,123 page book. And she sent me Shogun by James Clavell. So this is a book I never see talked about, but on reading the blurb and talking to Jack, this is one of Jack's all-time favourite books. It absolutely sounds like my sort of thing. Japan, samurai fighters, multi-generational, chunky. Yes, it does absolutely sound like my sort of thing. We're going to buddy read it together later in 2023. I am really excited to get to this. Intimidated, but excited. So thanks, Jack. And then also for my birthday, the lovely Alice from Alice and the Giant Bookshelf sent me 2 brilliant books. She sent me The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. Could she not send me an Agatha Christie? I don't think it's in her nature, especially because she obviously knew that I was going to do the Alice and Agatha project, which if you haven't seen, I shall also link that video below. But this is one of the ones that is in her top 12, so I will be reading this next year, and I'm very excited. So that was delightful. And she also sent me Shrines of Gaiety by Kate Atkinson, which is another one of the releases I've been really anticipating. I really enjoyed Life After Life and A God in Ruins by Kate Atkinson, so interested to see what she comes up with next. And this is set in the 20s in London, and I think it's about sort of like the dark underbelly of London. I don't really want to know too much going in, so yeah, we'll see. Hopefully she can live up to my expectations of this book, but if not, it's really pretty. And for my birthday, Alice also sent me, if you haven't noticed, Crochet Rudy. Hello. So yeah, she crocheted me a little Rudy. Rudy's legs are a little longer than this, but we'll allow it. And if I can find the clip of when Crochet Rudy met real Rudy, I will insert it here. Do you want to meet Crochet Rudy? Crochet Rudy. It was a fun time. But as you can see, he did survive, and I just love Crochet Rudy, and he will live up here until Rudy finds him, and then I'll have to move him higher up the shelf. And then for Christmas, the lovely Emily at Novell Novels gifted me The Corset by Laura Purcell. I think this is sort of like dark gothic. It might be Victorian, I might be making that up, but yes, on the front it says victim or villain, mad or murderer. So I think this is going to be, again, one of those ones that is better to go in blind, because I think it's going to be creepy and mysterious, and the less you know, the better. But I mean, how beautiful is that? Stunning. And then back to the lovely Jack, who for Christmas sent me Mort by Terry Pratchett. Now, Jack is a massive Discworld fan, and I have read a big fat 0 Terry Pratchett novels. So she sent me this. I believe she sent Alice the same one, and said this is a good place to start. I think this is the death sequence. I might be making that up. But I am really, really keen to try some Terry Pratchett, and if Jack says this is a place to start, then this is where I will start. Then the lovely Ange at Ange's Book Chatter sent me The Anomaly by Hervé Letellier. Is this translated? It is. I'm guessing from French, by Adriana Hunter. So Ange has talked about this a couple of times on her channel. She also talked about it on Sean the Book Maniac's channel, and so she's really, really hyped me for it. And it is also part of her book club. So if you are also interested in reading this, the Fiction Addiction Book Club will be reading this in February. I will leave both Ange's and Amy at BookTube with Amy's announcement videos below. Just let them know that you want to join, and they'll add you on to the various groups. But this is about a plane that goes missing and then turns up twice with the same passengers on. Sounds delightfully weird. And yeah, I really, really want to read it. So now that I have it, I can read it in February with Angie's Book Club. And then Alice sent me for Christmas Greek Myths by Charlotte Higgins. I have had my eye on this for a while. And though I've read quite a lot of Greek myth retellings, I haven't read many sort of like standard Greek myths. Obviously Charlotte Higgins did not write them, but I expect these will be quite true to the actual myths. And there are 8 in here. They are all from the female perspective, which is really, really cool. And there are a couple in here that I am unfamiliar with. Philomena Alcithoe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, so I just, cannot wait to dive into this. And Alice obviously knows me very well because she knows that I love a Greek myth. And then the lovely Danny, who is formerly of Danny's Book World, but she has stopped BookTube for now, though I think the BookTube FOMO is getting to her, so she might be back. She got me 2 lovely books, bless her. She got me Build Your House Around My Body by Violet Coopersmith, which is one of the only books on last year's Women's Prize longlist that I didn't get to, and I really wanted to. So I think this is really weird, set in Vietnam, split timeline. I don't know too much more than that, but I just know it's weird and it's set in Vietnam, so it sounds like my sort of thing. And then she also got me Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, and this is historical fiction set in Germany, World War II, about I believe refugees trying to escape from Germany, and it follows sort of 4 people and their sort of secrets and that sort of stuff. I have heard nothing but good things about Ruta Sepetys. She has been recommended to me as an author that I would enjoy, so I really can't wait to see if I do, because I know that she has quite a backlist, so it will give me plenty to go at. And then the final book, we're nearly there guys, we're nearly there. The final book was gifted to me by my lovely friend Kat, where bless her, every year she tries to find a book that I haven't read yet, and so this year she succeeded. She got The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern for me. So I think this is sort of a very whimsical tale. I think it's about books and stories, and I don't think it has sort of a clear plot. It's just very meandering and magical and like tendrils of delightfulness. So I haven't read any Erin Morgenstern before. I do have her other book, The Night Circus, on my Kindle. I haven't read it yet. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to get into this one as well. That, my loves, is a massive book haul, and none of this counts towards the bookie bank because I didn't buy these for myself. They were gifted. So yeah, though my shelves will increase quite dramatically, they don't count. So yes, there will be a bookie bank video in January for the books that I did buy myself in December, because of course I did, because even though I got gifted all these books, I still needed to buy more. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And if you are interested in the Alice and Agatha project that I mentioned earlier, I will leave that video here, and I'll catch you all very soon with another one. Bye guys.